Welcome back to Stasis Geek, Part 4, The Fallen Jedi of Ahsoka. Now, this is probably the best episode to make you want to watch the next episode. Because things happen and nothing happens. Now, that's going to sound very strange because the things that happened are just cool moments, I suppose, for Disney Lucasfilm in Star Wars, where they actually just have fight after fight after fight scene. And I can't say they're done well, because most of the time they are still baseball bat throwing around. The end one, this is going to have spoilers as always, with Ahsoka, is good, but it's just because of Balin. Yeah, it's cool, like the movements there are still a bit static, but how he does his bit, like it. The rest of it, it's just, fight scene for a fight scene for a fight scene for a fight scene to get to the ending to make you go, I need to watch part 5. So it's again, not much is happening because we're not leading to it. We're on 4 and Thrall. Yeah, that's what we're aiming for. We're going to the hyperspace. This one finally resolves that, and we finally get the coordinates, blah, 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 and they finally press the button and off they go. So it makes you, I need to go and watch because the next episode we might have movement. We might, go somewhere with this show because there are like fun bits, and I can say it's a fun show, just not a lot is happening. But this kind of now leads in, it must happen. Something must happen in it. So, yeah, the episode itself is just a fun episode. There's not much to it. We know they crash landed, they're fixing their craft, and then the danger's going to come. Yeah, so you get the droid danger. The interesting one, and this is big spoilers, so go away if you haven't seen it, is with Marek. So Ahsoka, Marek fight off, Sabine and Shin fight off. Yeah, don't know why it'd be Shin and Ahsoka. I would have thought that would have made more sense. But anyway. And then, big ones, they do a Hellboy. Is when Ahsoka slices in half and he's vapor inside. Yeah, it's green mist. Now, he might be part of the witches, I don't know that, but I think they just did a Hellboy. I think he's going to come back in another suit and be alive again. He's going to be an entity that you can't kill, unless, I'm guessing, you freeze the liquid or steam, ash, whatever you want to call it, that comes out of him. So I think that's where they're going to go with that. I don't think it's dead. I think I don't know if you call it it, because it's actually a vapor, is going to go into another suit, and then that's it, and they're just going to do a Hellboy. So that was interesting, but it was like, interesting, and then you're next to the next fight scene, and then that's happening. Now, the Sabine Shin one, yeah, okay. I don't get why Shin just didn't just kick the crap out of her, is because she has a moment when she realizes you can't use the Force. So if you're a Force wielder and you have somebody who really can't use it, wouldn't you just go, boom, crush, I'm crushing you, still crushing you, you can't move. Yeah, you don't have to use a saber. So when that moment happens, when she could do it, she doesn't do it, and then she drops a smoke grenade kind of bomb thing, flash bomb, and then scarpers. And you're like, you literally could choke her out, and that happens later. So it's even stranger that at that moment she just didn't go crush, dead, on we go, let's go to my master. But while that's happening, when Ahsoka does the strike, she runs off after the droids say stick together. There's a big thing about that. And then she goes to fight Bailey. Now this, I like the standoff fight, and it's quite good. This silly bit about I knew Anakin, well, he never told me about you, it was a bit silly, I thought. You didn't need to know, that little speech. It was just, because we know you were a Jedi. Yeah, it's obvious. And he tries to antagonize Ahsoka. Okay, but the standoff, I like that, I must say. But then again, when they started fighting, they have now this thing is sod having good movements is anytime we gonna get a little bit of interaction, we're gonna do a close up. So we get the and then another angle, and then they bolt up. So it kind of gives you like that fluid movement. But when they strike, they're still using baseball bats. I just don't get it. So it's boom. I got really tense up holding this saber. So I really, really hate this new shot angles they're doing with the lightsaber duels. Don't like it. But the next one, what happens? Of course, Ahsoka's trying to get the egg. I'm gonna call it I don't know, or the baseball. You know, the map. And stop the coordinates being fed up, to the hyperspace computer so they can get the coordinates. Okay. She does it, and she burns her hand. So she grabs it, and then she goes into this, I can't fight. I'm incapable. And I'm like, what's going on there? And then, now, I'm guessing the next bit. So she gets kind of, you can't see her getting sliced. She just kind of gets off, and they kind of later on they kind of actually fell into the water. So it makes out heavily, I'm guessing, that Ahsoka is dead, but not dead. That's because they then, I'm going to skip a little bit, but they go into the world between worlds. I hate the world between worlds. I hate that concept. It was something in Rebels that I hated. It shouldn't have been there. I think it's terrible. But it contradicts what was in Rebels, because Rebels you needed to do a little bit of a puzzle and then get into the world, by temples or artwork or whatever. This, she drops into the water, so I assume she is dead-ish or whatever, and she's kind of in the world between worlds of life and death. And then Anakin turns up. Now, when his voice is happening, you're like, that's cool, really cool. And then she turns, and then you're like, oh, you just couldn't be bothered, could you, Disney? You really couldn't be bothered, because that is some of the worst de-aging CGI I've ever seen. Now, they should have gone more, if you're going to make it look a little bit odd, like it is, make him look like a Force ghost. Yeah? Kind of give that. Because he's not. He looks like he's Rubber Man. That's the only way to say it. Because they've de-aged him in a way, but you can still see old. It's like that. So Hayden's in there, but then it's young Anakin, and it just doesn't fit. Just go, old, just as he is now. It would have made more sense. You de-aging him, it's weird. It is just odd. So I didn't get that. I didn't get it, because it was like, that's Rubber Man. It's literally awful. Whoever signed that off and went, should we spend another $5,000 just giving more details? It's terrible. So to make you want to watch, is that what they're going to go? Or they're going to improve it? Is that just for that ending shot? Because I'm guessing the next bit is Anakin, Ahsoka having a moment, but she's literally going to talk to Rubber Man. It's going to be very, very odd to look at. So I don't get it. I'm guessing what's going to happen. And this is, let's see what they're going to do. Because this could literally screw up Star Wars. Now, there's a big moment not a big moment, it's, if you catch it, is when Shin comes back first, and then Ahsoka knocks her out. Yeah, but she thinks, because she does it because she thinks Sabine's dead. That's the only reason Shin's come back. And that loses her moment of, in the moment of having a fight. So I'm guessing what's going to happen is they're going to go back to that time period. Her running into the fight. And then she does know that Sabine's okay. I'm guessing she's going to fix that. If she fixes that, then she fixes them getting the map. Maybe. Don't know. But if that's it, we're resetting. So I don't get this reset. So I don't get what's going to happen to Ahsoka unless, like, Hayden just goes, we have a portal that takes you to Thrawn, to where he is. Go through here. If they do that, that just means the kind of hyperspace things are pointless for Jedi. They could just use the world between worlds. Because you can go for current time and in past, and I'm guessing in future, movement. They would just use it. It would just be like a Jedi owned thing. Yeah, so that's it's just, I don't where they're gonna go now. But what they could do is, yeah, if she goes back in time, fixes her own death, yeah, in a way, that really could. They could retcon anything. That's the problem. Yeah, anything. That's why I hate the world between worlds, because the only scenario, this is the only scenario where this could work. Yeah? And hold with me here, because this is going to be a ride. Theory. They are scrapping the sequels. The First Order. Boom, what? But they're not. What they're doing is just going to reboot it with Thrawn comes back. Not as the First Order, but as they say in this, the heir to the Empire. Yeah? And then what happens next in the Disney timeline? Rey's back. So they start off Rey story yet again. But do it right this time. And that's why they needed everybody else back, you know, because they're going to fix it. That's my theory. That's the only way. If they're going to go in with the world between worlds, then effing destroy it, because that's the only thing that would ever make sense. And then they're going to go, oh, look, we're going to try and do the sequels right this time. But if they do that, it's odd. Because it's odd for one reason, is they believe everybody who goes to the cinema and will go and watch Star Wars will have has Ahsoka. Yeah? And that would make Ahsoka the primary influence throughout the whole of Star Wars. Not a Skywalker. It would be Ahsoka. It would be odd. Disney odd. I can see him doing it. But, yeah. Would you want them to do that retcon? 100%. But it would just be odd for that, because it would mean everybody who is the casual Star Wars likes going to cinema, you would have the Rey one reboot, and it'd just be like, this is odd. So, yeah, play with that as much as they want. Yeah, that's fine with me. But just for your casual audience, I just don't get it. Yeah. So we'll see. I said it's interesting, the best episode, because it wants you to see a part 5. For, again, the story, except there's nothing really drags on to the story as whole, because we knew we were going to get there from episode 3, or part 3 as they're calling it. So now they're going to go hyperdrive, boom, but the hyperdrive thing, does it matter? Because the world between worlds, what's going to happen there? So that's the interesting bit. But for the story, it's just fight. Yeah. World between worlds. That's it. Yeah. You could probably watch the last 5 minutes of this episode and get the whole episode. That's it. Because the lead up to it, it's just to get to that plot point. Yeah. How did we get there? We just got there. And why is this not happening? You know, it's not sped up. To get to where we are, you could have done this in 2 episodes. Easily. Because that Disney, they love to drag it out. We can't tell a continual story with having had them slow moments. Those slow moments. You know what I mean. So, yeah, again, it's bad in the pacing of the show, but not bad in the story pacing. It's just, why would you not condense that? It's just, and get to the point of the story, the point of the Ahsoka show. Yeah, it's just odd. But it's a episode. That's all you can say. It's an episode. The next episode may be more interesting. But it's just, we had some swingy things that look like baseball bats that glow on screen. And we saw Anakin, Rubber Man. That's it. But yeah, it was fun, but forgettable. That's this show so far. Oh, I like it. It's fun, forgettable. Exactly what they've done in the past. So yeah, we'll have to see which way they're going to go, because this is going the next 2 episodes. If they don't resolve it in the next episode, they're just dragging everything. Oh, them heels are being dragged. But this will set up the future of what Disney plans are with Star Wars. Are they just going, because there's a couple of things here. If Thrawn comes back and then just goes, I'm the First Order, oh, check out. People are going to check out because they've just gone hard in with it. If Ahsoka can retcon herself again, kind of in a way, that's where they're going to go. If they don't destroy the world between worlds, what's going on there? Or they could just bumble along with this ever-ending, we're not got a direction. More than likely, that's going to be it. You'll be like, oh, fairy. Oh, let's have a little discussion. But Disney, you're like, you haven't got a plan. You're just going with it. Stuff on paper. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. This next episode is just going to be interesting for the bigger picture of what Disney are going to do with Star Wars. I think. But yeah, as always, give us a comment on what you thought about the episode. For me, I'm just trying to think out of 10. It's quite a hard one to do because you like it, but you're like, if I had to be thinking, it's going to be like, this whole series feels like a 7. So I'm going to say like that. It's a low 7 for me, just because it's like, yeah, you took your time getting to that point. It's just, why do we need to see that first bit when you could have just had that? There was pointless fights to get to the next fight. It was just things. And the Jedi, and I suppose the Dark Jedi in this, isn't it? Use your Force abilities, please. Ooh, we got danger outside. You should be able to sense stuff, yeah, and use your abilities. So it's a bit annoying on that sense. But yeah, comment away, and as always, give us a like. And as always, Jedi to Jedi, out.